CUPS is an organization that has been around for 25 years, and we are happily celebrating that. But primarily what we do is provide to low-income families and individuals services in healthcare, education, and housing. We've helped and get people homes for a long time, and one of the big beliefs that we've always had is that stable housing, when you're in crisis, it's hard to really move forward. And stable housing is tied very directly to healthy employment, healthy living, child development, a whole host of other things that you really just need to be able to be stable somewhere in center. In our housing department, we have many different programs. So one is our community development.
The community development program is essentially a housing first program. It's 4 buildings owned and operated by the Calgary Homeless Foundation, and CUPS runs programming within those buildings designed to develop a sense of community, bring people together, and address that sense of social isolation that we know often accompanies homelessness.
And community development is something we are very passionate about, because at the end of the day, it really transfers the work that we help them with when they're on their own into a bigger, broader community level, which is exactly where we want them to be.
The buildings are all subsidized to income, so people never pay more than 30% of their income, really getting an opportunity to bring their lives back together and start planning a future.
One participant that we have had experience with, who's really been through an incredibly trying time with a separation in his family and with the loss of a home, it really became incredibly trying. And when I looked at what the work that we were able to do from the beginning as an agency, and then that transfers to community, that's exactly what we see as healthy communities and active, proactive lives for individuals.
Dan is a tenant in one of our buildings that is a perfect example of what we hope to see our tenants begin to achieve.
CUPS to me is community, people, support. In 2002, I had a great life experience with my baby daughter being born, being married, had a house, a job, and a really great job at that. It was production testing in the oil field, living the life of a normal person. And then in 2003, everything changed for me. My daughter was abducted by my wife. We were divorced at the time. I had custody of her. She was on a visitation. When her visitation was over, we found out she crossed an international border with her. Dealing with the courts was forever. I had to take time off work, paying a lot of money to lawyers across the international line. Had to sell my house. Had to sell just about everything I owned. And finally, when we got heard, it was a year and a half later that I got her back. Life was a struggle when I first got her back. Went from making $600 a day to $12 an hour, which is okay. It was just really hard to adjust. I did manage to juggle for quite a while, and then all of a sudden, the wages stayed the same, but rent started increasing. Childcare started increasing. So finally, I couldn't afford it anymore. Ended up in a shelter here in Calgary, which put me in touch with Calgary Homeless Foundation to get subsidized housing. The building that we entered had CUPS there for programming, community programming.
Dan was referred into the community development program, and over his time with us, we've really watched him grow.
With CUPS, it's helped me being more stable, with being able to know that we can have food on the table and not worry about the rent not being paid, worried about our power not being on. Before I couldn't afford that. Now with CUPS help, I can.
CUPS' primary function within these buildings is to design a series of programs intended to bring people together and form a sense of community. What's been really fun to watch is our tenants starting to come together and not just participate in the programs, but actually begin to lead their own programs.
Since I've been involved with CUPS, it's given me the stability that I can donate my time to the people in the community, help out where I can. With CUPS, it's taught me that it's great to have a community again.
I don't think there's any question Dan has a great future. Dan just needs an opportunity. Dan's previous job took him out of town a lot. Now as a single father of a young preteen girl, that's just not an option. What Dan really needs is to find something solid that's sort of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, that pays the bills and allows him to spend that quality time with his daughter. One of the really great things about the community development program is really the whole design is to decrease dependence on the system. So as we see tenants start to grow, make changes in their lives, and move out of the building, it's actually a happy thing. It means that they no longer need us, and really that's the ultimate goal.
CUPS has given me the support to move forward, move on, And eventually, once I move on, they can help somebody else. Maybe 2 or 3 people in the place. I don't know. We're just looking forward to the future and getting our lives back to what we had before.